Good Tuesday evening, everyone. It is so nice to see so many members of the community here with us this evening and hopefully also watching online. The September 14th, 2021 meeting of the Marion County School Board is called to order. Board Member Campbell, would you be so kind to read our commitment statement, please?
Yes, ma'am. We are the Marion County School District leadership team. When we come together to work, we are efficient, effective, and productive. Our three most important characteristics are dedicated, transparent, and individually responsible. To work well together, we must demonstrate respect, confront reality, and be accountable. We will always put students first. We will leave a legacy of success.
Thank you, Board Member Campbell. For the courtesy of those listening to the meeting, I'm requesting everyone in the audience, please turn off your electronic devices or put them on vibrate. Later in the meeting, up to 30 minutes will be provided for individuals to address the board on matters concerning the operation of the Marion County school system or the school board only. Presentations to the board are limited to 5 minutes and are televised. If you wish to address the board regarding a regular agenda item or matters on which the board customarily takes action, you must first complete a peach form located on the table in the hallway or in Mr. Christian's hand. If you wish to address the board regarding a public hearing or a student discipline matter, please complete a lime green form. These forms must be fully completed and received by the board secretary no later than 5:40 p.m. The procedures applicable for each are on a separate sheet. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Mrs. Allison Campbell, District 1.
Here.
Mr. Don Browning, District 2.
Here.
Mr. Eric Cummings, District 3.
Present.
Mrs. Nancy Throa, District 4.
Here.
Mrs. Kelly King, District 5. Dr. Diane Gullett, Superintendent.
Here.
Mr. Jeremy Powers, School Board Attorney.
Here.
Thank you, Ms. Martinez-Lopez. Before we move into the inspiration and the pledge, I would like to ask for a moment of silence on behalf of Vice Chair King. She is struggling with a couple very serious health situations within her own family, and that's why she is not with us tonight. So let's give a minute and put our thoughts and prayers out to Vice Chair King, please. Thank you. All right, Ms. Lindsey Barber, Social Studies Program Specialist, Curriculum Instruction and Digital Learning, Secondary, please come forward and introduce the individuals who will be providing us with the inspiration and the pledge tonight. Good to see you.
Good to see you all too. Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, Superintendent. Florida statute designates the month of September as American Founders Month, and public schools are encouraged to coordinate instruction at all grade levels related to our nation's founding fathers and mothers. And although students in our district take part in social studies instruction on a daily basis, September is really a time to reassert the importance of celebrating our nation's dedication to promoting the ideals of the Declaration of Independence and Constitution. The last week in September is celebrated as Freedom Week, and each school has taken on the responsibility of coordinating some special activities and instruction and learning experiences throughout the month, especially the last week of the month, that focus on Patriot Day and commemorating September 11th, Constitution Day, and freedom and patriotism. For tonight's inspiration and pledge, I'm proud to introduce two amazing ladies from the Ocala Chapter National Society Daughters of the American Revolution. The Ocala Chapter DAR is a group of patriotic women who champion making a significant difference in our community. As you well know, they are vibrant, enthusiastic, and they love serving the Ocala community to actively preserve American history and work to secure America's future through education for our children. Ms. Carol Bruno, the Constitution Committee Chairperson, and Ms. Elizabeth Coleman, the Ocala Chapter Regent, American History Committee State Chair, and Correspondent Docent at the National Society DAR Museum, please come forward and lead us in tonight's inspiration and pledge.
Good evening. Hear ye, hear ye. It's that time of year when we ring the bells of freedom and honor our Constitution, our founding document written 234 years ago. Did you know that the U.S. Constitution was signed on September the 17th, 1787 at 4 o'clock in the afternoon? And that is why this Friday, September 17th at 4 o'clock, we'll be with Troop 72 and some other wonderful women and men around the district, around the county, to ring the bells. So when you hear them, you'll know that that's what that's about. Back in 1955, the Daughters of the National Society, Daughters of the American Revolution, lobbied the U.S. Congress relentlessly. They asked, no, they insisted that September 17th through the 23rd be designated throughout the entire United States as Constitution Week. And eventually, Congress acquiesced and the bill was passed. Leave it to the women. By August 1956, then President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed that bill into law. And today, we still celebrate the Constitution Week, September 17th through 23rd.
Good evening. Beth told you a little bit about why and how the Constitution celebration got started by the DAR, and I'm going to share with you a little bit about what the DAR here in Ocala has been doing in celebration of that. And I'm going to read it because I don't remember everything these days, just saying. So, on September 1st, we had the very great honor of, for the first time, putting a Constitution Week display on in the Marion County Courthouse, thanks to Mr. Harrell, who is the clerk of the court and also the comptroller. He was very gracious and also very supportive about the results of that. And we had a little ceremony for that. In addition, beginning on the 1st, we had a installation in the Ocala Public Library of Constitution Week memorabilia and patriotic things. And that will be up all week and all month, and so you're welcome to go by and see that. On the first week in September, we sent out notices to the principals throughout our area of Marion County, informing them that on the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th, members of our group would be coming by with gifts for their library and their schools. And one of the things was a small poster about Constitution Week. The second thing was a book that was written by a Pensacola DAR daughter about her 6th great-grandfather who was in the Revolutionary War. And so we took those around personally and distributed them to the schools.
24 schools.
Yes.
24 Marion County schools.
And 2 private schools.
And 2 private schools.
We also did the same for the Belleview Library. So lots of deliveries. We also did a number of things that involved other people and other media, if you will. We collected proclamations celebrating Constitution Week from Mayor Gwynn and from the Marion County Freeholders or Commission. We put out PSAs to local radio stations, PR to print media, letters to state and national leaders, and to local churches asking them to offer prayers if they would, or perhaps just announce it in their church bulletins. And that was, I think, 6 churches and a synagogue. Also, you may have seen the banner that is installed across 25th Avenue. That will be up for 2 weeks this year, which we're very happy about. And of course, tonight's visit with all of you. Beth already mentioned the ringing of the bells. One location will be the First Presbyterian Church. That is the one that involves Troop 72, and that's been going on 25, maybe as many as 30 years. So, and that's open to the public, so you're more than welcome. And in fact, we'd love to invite you to go to that. There's another one at St. George's Anglican Church, and that's a newer one. Last year they hosted us because the Boy Scouts were not able to participate. So either one of those are on the 17th at about, I would say, get there before 4 o'clock, but 4 o'clock is hopefully when we'll be ringing the bells. And on September 22nd, the first DAR meeting of this year will take place, and we will be celebrating the organization's 131st birthday. So why all the fuss? Well, to me at least, and hopefully to you, the Constitution is a very foundational document for this nation. It is actually one of the smallest documents, if not the smallest such document in the world, and yet it is admired and copied by other nations who are setting up their nations. And I think it's important for all of us, not just as school students, but as adults, throughout our life, to get familiar with the Constitution, to know what it's about, to understand it more deeply. And I've had a great time doing that the last couple of years. George Washington has a Facebook page, as do other founders. There's also online courses on the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, and other things. And it's been illuminating for me and exciting and wonderful to hear what these original founders had to say and what we can learn from this important document. And so I'd like to close with a quote from George Washington that I think is kind of apropos for our nation right now. And he says this in 1790. Since the bond of union is now complete, and we once more consider ourselves as one family, it is much to be hoped that reproaches will cease and prejudices be clone away. For we should all remember that we are members of that community upon whose general success depends on our particular and individual welfare. And therefore, if we mean to support the liberty and independence which has cost us so much blood and treasure to establish, we must drive away the demon of party spirit and local reproach. So we thank you for participating in Constitution Week, and we thank you for supporting as a district all these really important historic occasions. And thank you for having us this evening.
You'll lead the pledge.
Yes.
So would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? And there's not to be anything in your left hand, so go ahead and salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Coleman and Ms. Bruno, just wanted to take a quick minute to thank you on behalf of the whole school board for everything that you do for the benefit of our kids. Just wanted to thank you for your energy and your enthusiasm and your patriotism, because it's folks like you that are keeping our American ideals alive and kicking in our public schools. So thanks for coming by to see us, as you always do.
Thank you.
Hey, good evening, Dr. Gullett.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. Pleasure to see you all. I recommend approval of the agenda for the September 14th, 2021 school board meeting with the materials in the board packet, those materials distributed to board members at the meeting, and the audio recording included as part of the official record of the meeting.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Board Member Cummings, seconded by Board Member Campbell. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes unanimously. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the June 22nd, 2021 special administrative briefing and work session?
So moved.
Moved by Board Member Campbell,
Second.
seconded by Board Member Cummings. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the June 22nd, 2021 school board meeting?
So move.
Moved by Board Member Cummings, seconded by Board Member Campbell. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to persons requesting to address the board. I will now ask the school board's attorney to explain the rules governing persons who wish to address the school board this evening. Good evening, Attorney Powers.
Good evening, Madam Chair. In compliance with Section 286.0114 of Florida statutes, the school board has adopted uniform procedures for public speakers who wish to speak at tonight's meeting, either regarding one of tonight's agenda items or a matter relating to the operations of the school district. These procedures will ensure the public has a reasonable opportunity to be heard on school board and school district matters. A written summary of these procedures is available from the table in the hallway. Public speaker forms are also located on the same table. The completed forms were due to the school board secretary no later than 5:40 p.m. Tonight's speakers will be called prior to the business portion of the school board's meeting in the order of receipt by the school board secretary. Before you begin speaking, please state your full name and address for the record and spell your last name. Each speaker will have 5 minutes of time. However, if there are more than 5 persons who wish to speak, the board may seek consensus to limit each speaker's time to 3 minutes. When the speaker has 1 minute remaining, the speaker will receive a visual notice to complete his or her comments. Speakers may not yield their time to other people. Speakers and meeting attendees are expected to conduct themselves in a respectful manner. Therefore, verbal attacks and profanity are strictly prohibited. Pursuant to procedures for public comments, item 6, speakers are not to identify specific individuals other than themselves or their child, unless a statement is provided 24 hours in advance. The board is here to listen to your comments only. You may be directed to an administrator or staff member following the conclusion of your comments for further assistance to address your concerns. If there are matters dealing with student discipline, including expulsions, they will be scheduled at the conclusion of the televised portion of the meeting. Parents may address the board regarding a discipline matter at that time. To ensure student privacy, only a parent or guardian may use a student's first or last name. Identifying references to or identification of other students and/or their families are also strictly prohibited. A public speaker's speech does not reflect the endorsement, sponsorship, position, or expression of the school district. Thank you for your attention to the board's requirements. Madam Chair, that concludes my explanatory remarks.
Thank you, Attorney Powers. Ms. Martinez-Lopez, how many speakers do we have tonight?
Madam, we have 6 speakers.
6 speakers, okay. Board, due to the number of individuals requesting to speak this evening, I am requesting your consensus to limit the time for public comment to 3 minutes each.
I agree.
We're good? Okay. I also would like to just, as a reminder to our community speakers, who we are so happy to have you here, to please stick to the one topic that you signed up for during your 3 minutes. So with that being said, let's have the first one.
Ms. Evie Cruz.
Ms. Cruz, please state and spell your last name and give us your address, and then we will put up on the screen your timer.
My name is Evie, spelled I-V-I-E, last name Cruz. My address is 7865 West Highway 40, Lot 151, Ocala, Florida, 34482.
Thank you. Please proceed.
I am here as the behalf of students in the Marion County School District and myself. Bus transportation is the school and district's job bringing students to school on time. Yet here I am waiting 30 minutes or more later than the bus should have been here. Moreover, when you have a 45 to 55 minute class, that's a big chunk of minutes wasted of class due to something that is not the student's fault. Furthermore, when you're in class, you have a seat that's been assigned to you by your teacher to know who sits where in case, God forbid, someone gets COVID. But if somehow, somewhere, someone who is beside you gets COVID, you have to be quarantined for a week or 2, which causes you to fall behind on for work for something that is not your fault. To top it all off, the only way to make up the work is by having a computer at home, using Teams, Canvas, and other educational apps for educational purposes. Therefore, if I do not have a computer at home, I will not be able to make up for my absence. From what I know, not everybody has a computer at home or electronic at home. All students are differently from different ways. Additionally, 90% of online kids last year in Florida almost didn't pass, which proves my point. Helping every student succeed is a great goal for all of you, but helping every student succeed means the students with late buses, the students who are in quarantine, including the students that don't have much at home. But without that changing, there will be students left with no education whatsoever. And I think that's the last thing you all want right now. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, young lady. Really appreciate having you here and hearing your comments.
What school? What school is she from?
What school are you from, Miss Edie? Howard Middle School. Thank you.
Kevin Cruz.
Yeah, Mr. Cruz, you've been through this before, but you've been a speaker here in the past, so please state your name and address, and then we'll put the timer up for you.
My name is Kevin Cruz. It's 7865 West Highway 40, Lot 151, Ocala, Florida 34482, CRUZ.
Thank you, sir.
I have concerns about what's going on in the nation, especially with these mandate vaccines. You know, I have 4 children. 3 of them go to these schools. And what I really want to talk about is the dangers of these vaccines that I've researched, and especially for children. I've been reading about how, you know, people watch the news, but there's always 2 sides of the story. And what I've been noticing is that a lot of people have been having tremors. They've been having amputations because of blood clots. They've become paralyzed. They have boils on their bodies, their mouths, black urine, pain. But for kids, a lot of them are down across the nation because of myocarditis, which is basically inflammation of the heart. And I believe that this is very dangerous for our children. And considering what's happened in California, you know, kids couldn't go to school for two years, basically. And then they go to school, but they have to be basically vaccinated. And, you know, what I've noticed is that these are not vaccinated. These are not vaccines. What these basically are gene therapies that basically rewrite your DNA. You know, people are getting these vaccines and they're filling up the hospitals. So I'm very concerned about these vaccines coming to Marion County. And I know that, you know, I do not trust what's happening in the federal government. I do not trust the NHS, I don't trust the NIH, I don't trust the CDC, I don't trust the World Health Organization, I don't trust the FBI, I don't trust the FBI, the CIA. I do not trust, you know, the administration. But I'm here because I want to trust the local government. I'm here to trust you guys because you are entrusted to take care of our children, to entrust our teachers. And what I've been noticing last time I came here was that teachers were dropping dead. And right now, you know, they really want to give these vaccines to 12-year-olds to high school, and they want to go younger than that. So I really want you to really do your research. I know that you guys are very educated. I know that you guys are very busy. And I know that, you know, you leave here, you want to go home, and you're back here again. But please, I implore you to really go into this and really find out what's going on, because I don't want kids to start dying, because what's going to happen is they're going to blame you. So I want to end up with this. The price of freedom is eternal vigilance, by Thomas Jefferson. So you really have to ask yourself, what is freedom? So please, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Ms. Kelly Robbins.
Sorry, it's a little wet. At least it's clean. Hi
Ms.
there.
Robbins, if you
I
just State
am.
your name and address, and then we'll put your timer up for you.
Thank you. My name is Kelly Robbins, Robbins. I live in Southwest Marion County. In the Westport School District, and I am a native Ocalan. Graduated of Lakewood High School, born and raised here. Both of my daughters born and going to school in Marion County in Ocala. My older child is special needs and attended Maplewood and went all through Hillcrest. Unfortunately, COVID snatched her final year of being able to go to Hillcrest. I have another daughter who is currently a freshman at Westport, so very excited about that. I am concerned about the masking of the young children, especially for, my concern is especially for the autistic and special needs children. The statistics show that the dangers to young children, actually even older children, are extremely low risk for injury from COVID or illness from COVID. Cancer, suffocation, drowning far surpass risks for our children than COVID. In all of 2020 and 21 combined, there have only been 15 pediatric deaths from COVID, not COVID plus leukemia or COVID plus cancer. COVID, 15, okay? There were 22 pediatric deaths from influenza alone in 2020. So at one point, the hysteria, which I was going to say the fear, is a bigger risk because our children are being raised basically in an atmosphere of fear, and it's definitely a concern for their psychology, this fear every day that they have to wear a mask and fear being friends or being close to other children. At one point, the hysteria was comparing COVID and the new Delta variant to chickenpox, and that was so bizarre and blatantly incorrect that even the NPR had to call out the CDC and no, it's not accurate. Elisa Schechter-Perkins, the Director of Emergency Medicine and Infectious Disease Management at Boston Medical Center, said, "A year ago I said masks are not the end of the world, why not just wear a mask?" But the world has changed. There are real downsides to masking children for this long with no known end date and without any clear upside. And she continued that I'm not aware of any studies that show conclusively that kids wearing masks in schools has any effect on their own morbidity or mortality or on the hospitalization or death rate in the community around them. While masks offer some protection for adults in many environments, the adage goes, children are not little adults. Okay. Lloyd Fisher, the president of the Massachusetts chapter of American Academy of Pediatrics, said it is important for children to see facial expressions of their peers and the adults around them in order to learn social cues and understand how to read emotions. Some children, especially those with special needs or articulation delays, may have an issue. So reading faces is critical, and basically I just wanted to state, what are we trying to achieve by forcefully masking the young children when they are extremely unlikely to suffer illness or death?
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Stephanie Roberts?
Hi, my name is Stephanie Roberts, and I am in the Westport district. I'm a 9th grader. I go to Westport High School currently, and I just wanted to state my personal opinions on the mask mandate. I think that the current mask mandate was not in place at first because we thought that we could just go back to normal. But there is a reason that they put it back, that we have to wear masks again, because the amount of cases shot up compared to last year when we did not mask. And I think that no matter if you're showing symptoms or if you are vaccinated, a lot of people can get COVID and can bring it back to their family and people that are more important to them. And regardless of if I get COVID and I don't die and I'm fine, if I bring it back to someone older, then that's much more important. Or my autistic sister, that's so much more important than if I get COVID and it's like, oh, it's okay. So I think that, I don't think that vaccines technically should be, mandated, but they're not. So it's not a current concern. And, masks were mandated for a reason. It shouldn't be taken down if it was mandated because of science. The reasons that we are wearing masks at school right now, it's annoying. Nobody likes to wear masks. It's not fun. It's not the same. But they're there for a reason, and it'll be gone eventually. But it won't be gone if we don't take our step and take our part in trying to be cautious about COVID and be careful to our loved ones. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much, young lady.
Daniel King?
My name is Daniel King, K-I-N-G, 12600 Southwest Highway 44, Dunnellon, Florida. Superintendent, board, attorney, I have addressed you a couple times. The first time I told you I was there to find out what your problems are, and I know they've gotten worse in many, many ways, so I appreciate that. The hard choices you've had to make. Second time was talking about the critical race theory and those kind of things. Gary White followed up with that. And I had introduced to the board the 1776 pledge, which is my subject right now. 1776 pledge to save our schools. And we have the new, I welcome Don Browning. I had a friend of mine share with me that they were very happy that you were on the board now.
Thank you.
And it's good to have a full quorum of folks that are going to be leading the charge going forward with these changes. But I wanted to actually, attorney, since I had two things. I had given the board an opportunity to look at that document and to have a copy of it. And I would like to give a copy to Don if that was okay with you.
It's been previously provided and provided to the board members.
It has been, okay. If that's the case, then that's, I appreciate you passing that on and everyone having that. I'm going to ask the direct question, has anyone taken that pledge? So your silence tells me you may not have, or else you refuse to answer that, which I guess is somewhat understandable. But it's important to me. I shared it before because that is how I am, not that I don't have a great platform of friends and relationship here to preach to, but that is how I judge, how I'm going to judge all my public servants. From the federal, the state, and the local, they work for the people. And you're here working for under Governor DeSantis. And the 1776 pledge, that was specifically for the CRT issues, but it also involves the parental rights. And when I was here another time, and I watched online a few times, when a lot of people were concerned. I appreciate the support for masks. But overwhelmingly, the parental rights are very, very important for and I agree with that, pretty much what everybody said. There's so much misinformation out there that's not scientific. Anyway, what am I trying to say? I thank you, Don, for being here, if I can address you by my first name. And I encourage you to read that and all of you to take that to heart, because I think there are a lot of people that are looking at that and how we judge ourselves going forward. Am I taking care of the kids from a spiritual standpoint, a physical standpoint, and allowing the Constitution to do what the Constitution is supposed to do? Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mark Avery.
I'll take care of it.
Good evening. My name is Mark Avery, A-V-E-R-Y. I'm the president of the Marion Education Association, and I represent the Instructional Bargaining Unit in Marion County. I reside at 3 Diamond Ridge Way, Ocala, Florida, 34472. I come to you tonight to speak about an issue that I'm sure you're aware of in our district, but I want to, again, make it in the light of everyone. We've had speakers stand tonight and talk about the pandemic issue that we have in our district. It's not a myth, it's there. People have different feelings on it. The whole room, everybody in the room has a different feeling on it. That's stress that the teachers have. That's stress that our employees have. And we have a problem. We have a problem because we can't hire enough people and we can't keep the people that we have. So not only do we now have a recruitment issue, we have a retention issue. Every day I talk to people about What can I do? Can I leave? I want to leave. Someone last night, if I leave, can I come back in 30 days? Not because they don't want to teach, but because they're not happy with the situation they're in. I told them, go talk to your principal. Some people's principals won't even talk to them. I was in a training over the weekend and with a professor from Stetson. 21st century leadership skills, the majority of that are people skills, interpersonal skills, which I found it very interesting from this training, because I have been saying that for years, that we have principals, but they're not people managers. They don't talk to people. And I'll give you a perfect example. I went to 2 schools yesterday. One school, the principal welcomed me in. They happened to be at the doorway, welcomed me to their school. I wasn't there for any issue. A second school that I was at, the principal refused, absolutely refused to speak to me. Not say hello. They knew I was there. They knew why I was there. They even so much as came out and from their office and went past me and couldn't give me the time of day. I don't get that from the superintendent or the superintendent's leadership team. I don't get that from any of the board members. We have to do things that are going to make these people want to stay, because they have so many things on their plate right now and nothing's getting taken off, but more and more things are being added. Every day, more and more things are being added, and they're being asked to do more, and they don't feel like they're being valued, and they're leaving. I looked at the data today. In the first month of school, we've had 22 teachers, only teachers, that have left. That's like the entire staff of teachers at Anthony or Spar, one of our smaller schools. Can we afford to have that many people leave every month? And that doesn't account for the rest of the village that helps us operate this district. We have to do some things. We have to get that message out there to get these people, to communicate with them, to get them to stay. We got to work on our retention and our recruitment. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? That's it. Okay. All right. Before we move on, I just want to again acknowledge the speakers that came before us this evening. Thank you very much. Know that we hear you, know that we're listening, know that this job is never more than maybe 1 or 2 words away from our minds all day, every day. And it means the world to me personally to hear from you in a very calm and respectful and passionate and problem-solving manner. We've all watched the news and we've all seen it go wildly different other places. And I continue to be very proud of my community, our community, for how we're navigating our way through this disgusting, wildly inconvenient, frustrating challenge. So I just wanted to take a special minute to acknowledge all of you. Thank you so much. Okay. May I have a motion to adopt the 2021 through 2023 District Safety and Loss Prevention Manual?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Board Member Campbell, second by Board Member Cummings. Superintendent?
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. The primary goal of the Safety and Loss Prevention Program Manual is to assist in providing a safe and healthy environment for students, employees, and all of those who visit our district facilities, and to prevent student and employee accidents causing injuries and illnesses. Monetary savings are realized by reducing costly accidental injuries due to effective safety programs.
I declare a public hearing. Is there anyone present who wishes to address the 2021 through 2023 District Safety and Loss Prevention Manual? Seeing none, board, is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes unanimously. May I have a motion to approve consent agenda items C7.1 through C20.1?
So move.
Moved by Board Member Cummings,
Second.
second by Board Member Campbell. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oops. Getting a little quick with that hammer. All right, moving on to donations. May I have a motion to approve the following cash or tangible donations that have a total value of $107,660.75. Backpacks and school supplies valued at $9,618.75 to Dunnellon Middle, East Marion Elementary, Emerald Shores Elementary, Hillcrest School, Marion Oaks Elementary, North Marion Middle, Oakerest Elementary, Osceola Middle, and Reddick Collier Elementary Schools from Kingdom of the Sun Chapter, Military Officers Association of America. $2,500 to Belleview Middle School from their business partner, Dr. Jones Orthodontics, via the Public Education Foundation of Marion County. $2,500 to Dunnellon High School from their business partner, Collier, Jernigan, Eastman, and Zublik, PA, via the Public Education Foundation of Marion County. $2,500 to Emerald Shores Elementary School from their business partner, Fakori Leadership International, via the Public Education Foundation of Marion County. $2,500 to Forest High School from their business partner, Robert Bisonalt Oncology Institute, via the Public Education Foundation of Marion County. $2,500 to Fort McCoy School from their business partner, Mackenzie's Moment, via the Public Education Foundation of Marion County. $2,500 again to Fort McCoy School from their business partner, the Smith Family Foundation, via the Public Education Foundation of Marion County. $2,500 to Greenway Elementary School from their business partner, Stone Petroleum Products Incorporated, via the Public Education Foundation of Marion County. $1,565 to Hammett Bowen Elementary School from Ocala West United Methodist Church. $1,500 to Harborview Elementary School from Rotary Club of the Villages Evening Foundation, Incorporated. $2,500 to Harborview Elementary School from their business partner, J.A. Standridge Construction, Incorporated, via the Public Education Foundation of Marion County. $2,500 to Horizon Academy from their business partner, Conrad Tree Service, via the Public Education Foundation of Marion County. $2,500 to Howard Middle School from their business partner, Jennifer L. Darley, Professional Associates, via the Public Education Foundation of Marion County. Hope you paid the babysitter because I have 2 more pages. $2,500 to Madison Street Elementary School from their business partner, Dr. Jones Orthodontics, via the Public Education Foundation of Marion County. $2,500 to Madison Street Elementary School from their business partner, Riley Arts Center, via the Public Education Foundation of Marion County. $2,500 to Maplewood Elementary School from their business partner, Mackenzie's Moment, via the Public Education Foundation of Marion County. $2,500 to Maplewood Elementary School from their business partner, the Smith Family Foundation, via the Public Education Foundation of Marion County. 500 pairs of shoes and 1,076 pairs of socks, valued at $21,327 to Marion County Public Schools from Souls for Souls. $2,000 to Marion County Public Schools Mental Health and Wellness Department from Marion County Tax Collector, Florida Employee Fund. $1,650 to Marion Technical College from North Florida Retirement Village, Incorporated. $2,500 to North Marion High School from their business partner, Florida Express Environmental, via the Public Education Foundation of Marion County. $2,500 to Oakerest Elementary School from their business partner, the Smith Family Foundation, via the Public Education Foundation of Marion County. $2,500 to Oakerest Elementary from their business partner, Mackenzie's Moment, via the Public Education Foundation of Marion County. $2,500 to Ocala Springs Elementary School from their business partner, Ocala Electric Utility, via the Public Education Foundation of Marion County. $2,500 to Osceola Middle School from their business partner, Reed Orthodontics, via the Public Education Foundation of Marion County. Outdoor picnic table, valued at $1,500, to Osceola Middle School from Nyana Vagela. $2,500 to Saddlewood Elementary School from their business partner, E1 Incorporated, via the Public Education Foundation of Marion County. $1,500 to Vanguard High School from their business partner, Rainey's Incorporated, via the Public Education Foundation of Marion County. $2,500 to Vanguard High School from their business partner, SIVA MD Professional Associates, via the Public Education Foundation of Marion County. $12,000 to Westport High School from the PAC Football Club Incorporated. And last but not least, $2,500 to Wyomina Park Elementary School from their business partner, Fakori Medical and Chiropractic Center, via the Public Education Foundation of Marion County. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Moved by Board Member Campbell.
Second.
Seconded by Board Member Cummings. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Wow. Motion passes unanimously.
Well done, Madam Chairman.
I have to say, I've watched and participated in a lot of board meetings, but I think this is the longest list of contributions that I have ever seen, let alone read, without a doubt. And so I guess you've gotten used to me talking, so I'll go ahead and give the thanks tonight, because it really does prove my point from just a few minutes ago, that this is our community. Our community comes together. We're passionate about how we feel about things, but in the end, we come together for kids. And I can't thank all of these supporters enough for everything that they're doing. It couldn't come at a better time. And just thank you again for really walking your talk tonight. Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
Ms. Gaskins, can you come up, please? Ms. Gaskin had faxed in her request to address the board, but I had it in a packet here because she came early, so.
Yes, ma'am, I wondered, and I thought, well, maybe you decided not to speak, so I didn't want to call you out.
I had your form. My apologies, Ms. Gaskins.
No problem. Darnitha Gaskin, Gaskin. Thank you, Marion County School Board, for protecting our children, but that's not why I'm here. I'm asking you to implement the mask mandate for 90 days without an option. I'm a healthcare worker for over 20 years. I have never in my life seen anything like this. And I don't want any parent to lose their child. I've lost a child, not to COVID-19, but to have that feeling to lose a child or a loved one is horrible. My thing of it is, it's that if you implement this, they will have a chance to survive. As a mother, as you guys would know, if your child falls down, you're gonna pick them up, clean their boo-boo off, you're going to put medicine on and put a bandage. Same thing as a mask. If they put the mask on, that's protecting them from getting the virus. It's protecting them from spreading it to the school board members, the bus drivers, the police officers that are there, or even the teachers. Like you said, you're short of teachers now. We don't want that to continue to happen. It's already a problem with the buses late because you're short of drivers. So to have this work as a healthcare worker, seeing children being incubated, parents incubated in ICU is horrible, and I don't want to see that. So I'm asking you again for 90 days to implement this without the option to give Marion County children, and even with you guys, an option to be able to live. In that way, this virus can slow down and possibly end. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Gaskin. It also came to my attention in a different case, Ms. Gaskin, it was our mistake, but that there is someone that would still like to speak, and respectfully, I'm not going to be able to honor that request, and here's why. We have a time for that, and it's really important for us to be able to stick to our agenda, and otherwise, if I say yes to one, I'm going to need to say yes to all. You know, that's only fair. So I would encourage everyone to please come back at your public comment time. I think that we've emphasized over and over again how much it means to us to hear from you, but we do need to move forward to the rest of our agenda. So thank you. The next, and also too, you can email any board member, you can call. We do want to hear from you. All right, the next
Madam Chair?
Yes, sir.
Yes, if I may ask, and this is for my edification as much as the public, but I'd like to know if there is a handout, what is the proper procedure for handouts at when they're speaking.
Yes, sir. Mr. Christians, would you review that real quick, please? And this occurs at the beginning of every meeting.
I'm not sure, Board Member Browning, if you're referring to a handout from the speaker or a handout that has to be filled out by the speaker.
From the speaker, like if they want to leave something for the board, if they want to leave something for specifically for a board member, I may or may not have Mr. King's handout, I may or may not, but what would be the proper procedure? That's what I'm asking.
I will defer to the attorney.
Okay, yes.
Yes, and my apologies, I misunderstood your question.
Okay, thank
Attorney
you.
Powers.
It would need to be provided 24 hours in advance so that it can be reviewed to ensure that school board members would not be receiving information which is, perhaps violative of a bid process or anything else.
I see, sure.
So it would need to be received 24 hours in advance, and then at that point, it can be passed on to the board members.
Thank you.
Okay. The next administrative briefing and work session is scheduled for October 7th, 2021 at 9 a.m. The purpose of the work session is to discuss long-range planning, student progression plan, and COVID-19 updates. Oh, thank you. The following administrative briefing and work session is also scheduled for September 23rd, 2021 at 9 a.m. The purpose of the work session is to discuss FSSAT presentation, annual Public Education Foundation report, construction projects, district offices, MTI, MTC updates, and COVID-19 updates. Thank you. Okay, moving on to committee reports, concerns, and comments. Dr. Gullett, what might you have for us this evening?
Good evening once again, Madam Chair, members of the board. Yes, you may be aware, and I sent you a follow-up from Chancellor Oliva from the Department of Education, that Governor DeSantis held a press conference this morning, and he detailed an initiative to create some new progress monitoring for students, the progression of their learning. And essentially, what I understand so far is that we'll get more details on what they're calling the FAST plan. FAST stands for Florida Assessment of Student Thinking. And essentially what's going to happen is that our progress monitoring will move from the Florida State Assessments, which concludes and is given as a summative assessment at the end of the year, and we'll move to a 3 times a year progress monitoring assessment. So he has declared and said that the Department of Education would follow up through their process this year, that the following year there would no longer be the FSA assessment at the end of the year. And this new progress monitoring will replace that. So certainly more details to come, but that information was shared with us today. And so as we receive the details of that progress monitoring, the tool, and what that will look like in terms of its implementation in our schools, we will certainly share.
Thank you, Dr. Gullett.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Martinez-Lopez.
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you. Attorney Powers, anything from legal?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. Board Member Campbell.
So I have a couple of things tonight, Madam Chair. First of all, I know oftentimes we do a lot of thank yous, and we have so many people in our district that are working so hard every day. But I wanted to specifically say thank you to our principals and administrators. Tonight, I know, again, we've thanked so many people, and we continue to do so and continue to need to do so. But I'm especially appreciative of our principals and administrators who are working so diligently right now whenever they have staff members that are calling out or staff members that have to be quarantined, or it's just a lot on them to find those replacements oftentimes and navigating all the changes. And then obviously then the governor comes out today and says something about maybe FSA testing going away. And so that just adds a whole new layer to just all that they have on their plates. And so I just wanted to say a special thank you to our principals and assistant principals and all those in the administrative level at the schools. I also wanted to acknowledge the work that Cassandra Boston had done at Howard Academy, unless Reverend Cummings is going to do that as a part of his remarks. Okay, perfect. So I will leave that for you. I know that we both had conversation last evening with one of the Howard Academy committee members about that, and so I'll defer that comment to you. I also wanted to first say that I've been doing, while we had a wonderful list of donations this evening, and it truly was an amazing list, one that was not on the list that often is, an organization that often is the Marion County Hospital District. And so in some questions being asked of what our staff has on their plate from the Marion County Hospital District, as well as talking to some trustees and the CEO of the hospital district, I would like to request if the board would be willing to have us have a work session topic in the future just about all that the Marion County Hospital District does for us. The report that I saw from them is more than $1 million just about every year for more than 5 years, and I don't know that we've ever actually sat down as a board and seen a full report of what that looks like actually implemented in our schools. So, Madam Chair, if you are willing, or if the board is willing to see that in a future work session, I would really appreciate that presentation.
I think it's a great idea. When I first came on the board, I had heard of the hospital district and read about the hospital district, and maybe I just wasn't aware from where I was as an employee at the time of the tremendous support that they provide to us. And it just appears to be increasing all the time. And I've loved my tours of the fans and the greenhouses and just their whole wellness initiative. Couldn't be more timely. It's a great idea. Thank you. I'm looking at our work sessions coming up, and here's a more updated one. Okay. All right. So we might be able to look at November 18th work session. Right now, all we have is stop loss and enrollment update, self-funded health plan, which of course is very important, and then COVID-19 updates if needed. But that might be a good one if we could get them on the agenda if they're available. So,
Madam Chair, I would agree that that's a home run, and it's often incredibly science-based, their approach to life in a hospital, and I'll refer to some of that in my comments, but I support that 100%. Yeah, get that information to us and to the community.
Thank you. That would be wonderful. I really would appreciate that. Just in the talking that I've had with staff, and then again with some of the hospital district staff, I know that we are tracking and providing metrics to them, but I haven't seen it, and probably you all haven't either. So I'm interested in seeing what they actually submit to the hospital district and what the hospital district is asking, and just kind of that back and forth. I know that I believe there is a portion of that they fund a couple of positions within the school system, and so anyway, I'm just excited to actually have a full presentation so we can see what that is all about. So thank you for that. I also wanted to acknowledge today that Representative Stan McLean was in a couple of our schools. Today we went to Lake Weir High School and Lake Weir Middle School, and Representative Yvonne Hayes Henson will be with us on Thursday, and we'll be visiting 3 schools. So I believe Ms. Martinez Lopez will be sending out that schedule to you all just so you will have that. But I also wanted to mention the FSBA legislative platform information. So I did go to that yesterday, where we got together and talked about the platform that FSBA, Florida School Board Association, will potentially be working on. I have the 5 federal platform initiatives as well as the 3 state ones. And I wanted to specifically talk about the 3 state ones because I think that I think this can help us potentially massage what we had talked about, and so I wanted to give that report tonight. So the 3 state initiatives that they're going to be working on, and they haven't obviously crafted the language perfectly yet, but they're going to be talking about funding and to increase the base student allocation. But also from a funding perspective, they're asking about the expansion of the secondary workforce education with potential startup and or expansion funding specifically for secondary, basically career tech programs, which is what the 2 representatives I've had so far have seen, and what we're also going to see with Representative Hayes Henson on Thursday. One thing that we specified on today, and did also when Representative Harding was with us, was showing that progression from what they can do in middle school and then get in high school, and where a gap might exist or where we can potentially expand on that. And so with that being an initiative of the Florida School Board Association that they're going to try to work on, I don't know if we want to kind of craft our messaging to mirror that. So that's one of the comments I wanted to make. Secondly, they're going to focus on mental health and increased funding for K-12 and student mental health services. And thirdly, they're going to be focusing on teacher pay and certifications and decreasing barriers to hire and retain quality teachers, and potentially asking to reinstate the critical shortage tuition waivers that apparently were available in the 90s. And so they're going to be talking about that again. All of this is kind of still yet hot off the presses. This was, as of 2 o'clock yesterday, these are the things that we kind of were working on. So because the last work session we had talked about what we as a school board were going to put forth to our legislative delegation. I wanted to see if we could potentially talk about that just for a moment tonight. One of the things we had said was to repeal the landline telephone tax for PICO funds and replace that with cell phone tax. So I believe that there was definitely consensus. We wanted to keep that as one of our items.
Yeah, I've comment on that just quickly because now you've got me thinking that for us, it may just be common sense that we lost funding one way using landlines and we just want to simply recoup that. We don't want to add anything. However, now you've got me thinking in terms of, well, we know we need the money, but what can we say to them that is very definite about what we would use that money for? And I just want to clarify, Dr. Gullett, when it comes to the repeal and replace for the landline tax, does that line up with our desire to be able to provide transportation to any choice program, career and technical education program, no matter where it is? Could that money be used for that?
Sorry, I just swallowed something. It's I know, I got it.
While she's getting the water, it seemed like I remember that funding was supposed to be for buildings specifically.
I think it was facilities.
Facilities.
PICO.
It is, I'm sorry, it is for facilities. So I think we would have to look more broadly at other ways to fund the access to CTE, but it's very specific to that.
Okay, I
Yes.
kind of thought that was the case, but never hurts to ask, because if we're going to have an ask, we want to pair it with the project. So that's something for us to really think about, especially since they're talking so much about expanding that, and that lines up with rolling back the FSA and hopefully becoming a little more globally minded when it comes to educating our kids.
Madam Chair, if I may, Allison, could you elaborate a little bit on the learning curve that you went through and just how you got to a lot of this information so I could catch up with it? Because of the sunshine, we need to do it right here, right now. But I would like to know, with your experience in doing that, some of what you did and how you got there and how we might trace that and have it come through.
Sure. So elaborate just a bit on the learning curve. Are you talking about how we were watching the combination from the middle school to the high school and the career technical?
How you pulled all that together for the legislative folks.
Oh, okay, sure. So,
Yeah, I mean, that's a big deal, and it'll have a big impact on funding and
Sure.
on, what we get.
So the Florida School Board Association has an advocacy committee, and there were representatives from multiple school districts yesterday that all gathered in Kissimmee. And we had all submitted, different school districts around the state had submitted recommendations for the legislative and the federal platforms. And we basically just ranked them. I mean, we went around the room and we would say, what do you absolutely want included and what, can you do without? And actually I have an update on the one that we had submitted about the innovative learning model. So I want to share that as well. But when we went around the room, I mean, there were lots of things, school safety. I mean, there were lots of things that we actually categorized as these are things we want to really make a part of the platform, and these are issues of continued concern. So whereas we want to put forth a document that says these are the Florida School Board Association platform agenda items that we want to move forward and actually would like to see legislation moving forward on, we also have several issues of continuing concern that we don't necessarily want to say this needs to be new legislation, but this may need to be something that we have in a conversation apart from this is an out front presentation that we're going to make. So certainly having conversations with legislators and just relationship building and just picking up the phone. And so I was grateful that Representative Harding and Representative McClain have both been interested in actually touring our schools. And having Representative McClain specifically in Lake Weir High School today, did that purposefully because it's our construction academy. He's very familiar with MTI, but had not seen it at the high school on base district campus. So I wanted him to see that. And then we also went to the Lake Weir Middle, which is also our only other construction middle school essential shop class, like we all used to know. So we were able to see how that makes a good transition. And kudos to the Lake Weir High School Construction Academy right now. They are crafting beautifully new lockers for the football team. And they had gotten a donation, a grant from Home Depot with the wood and all of that. I mean, they're going to be beautiful. And so kudos to them, because we were able to see a lot in action today while that was being done. But nevertheless, so did that answer your question?
It does.
Okay.
It gets me down the path.
Sure.
Of how you got to where, because it sounds pretty effective.
Well, thank you. So I'm grateful that this board just appointed me to do this about, 3-4 weeks ago. Yes, it wasn't very long ago. So it's been a quick learning curve, but hopping right in, and I figure the fastest way to do that is to jump in with both feet. And so I was grateful for that opportunity yesterday. Let me elaborate a few more things, and then let's kind of talk about this if you don't mind. So on the initial conversation we had about career technical education, it was potentially that we wanted to say something like permitting districts to combine career and technical education programs. I do think that we might be able to morph that into something specific about startup or expansion funding specific to secondary career and technical education to mirror the FSBA. So just think on that for just a moment. Then I also wanted to mention in that platform proposal that was submitted by all the different districts, I did notice while ours to request the innovative learning model was not something that FSBA had put out, it was something that another member district, Indian River Schools, had also requested to do a pilot program exactly like what we had done. So I reached out to the board member in Indian River who had submitted that, and she and I are in ongoing conversation. But actually today with Representative McLean, he informed me that they actually did put it in one of his bills that was approved on June 22nd. So let me elaborate on that. In Senate Bill, CS Senate Bill 1108 that was signed into law on June 22nd. The bill actually included the language for the Department of Education to hold certain intellectual property rights, including patents, copyrights, trademarks, and those sorts of things for basically state authorized assessments and so forth. But it also included to create the innovative blended learning and real-time student assessment pilot program, which involves the combination of in-person and remote students in the same classroom environment. So that has been signed into law. So what I don't know yet, and this is what I'm trying to find out, is if we then can request an expansion of that so that they would actually name us and potentially Indian River as the pilot programs, or if that needs to come now through DOE. I don't know that yet, so this is all just happening today. But I wanted us to be aware that while we had submitted that as a recommendation for the pilot, it's already been written into law to have a pilot program for the innovative learning model. But to my understanding, DOE hasn't moved on that yet. So I don't quite know where that puts us, other than hopefully we could become one of the pilots. So I don't know if Dr. Gullett has additional information on that.
Yes, and Madam Chair, if I may, I think I can talk now, so forgive me. We incidentally just today received something from the Department of Education, and so you have to provide us a little bit of time, but here's what I saw when it came up on my screen this afternoon from the Department of Education. To be eligible for this program, they've listed these criteria. We must meet one of these, and it's an application-based process. It's a high-performing charter school under a certain provision under the statute, a high-performing charter school system under a different section, an academically high-performing school district. So we have to get a definition and find out what that looks like. And I will remind the board that because of the provisions from this past year, we are in an opt-in based on data. So we are looking at and have applied for certain schools to opt into grades, but not as a district. Right. So there's a lot to work out here. This did just come this afternoon, and I was eager to get some answers to this. So certainly when we have those answers, we will provide those.
Okay. So a lot of moving parts today. So
But at least something's moving.
Something's moving, absolutely. Something is moving. So that's pretty much all I had. I wanted to ensure that we, as a board, knew specifically what it was we want to put on that little pamphlet that we're going to hand out to them on October 7th. So if it behooves you all, if we could have a brief discussion on how or what we specifically want to include there, I'm open to that.
Thank you, Board Member Campbell.
We have work session next Thursday, correct? Can we discuss it then?
We can definitely discuss it in more detail, but that's the one that you're going to be.
Right, and I will not be in attendance for that one because I will be at a Florida School Board Association training.
Right.
But I also wanted to ask Mr. Christian, because he also provides the print for us. So if we were to wait until next Thursday by October 7th, okay. So that would be fine if you want to work on that in my absence next Thursday.
Okay, and any notes that could go to our school board attorney and get to us somehow for discussion. We really want to build on the great work that you have laid. You're really laying a foundation of expanding those relationships. We all have pretty good relationships with our elected officials, but seeing is believing. And when folks come into our schools and just see the pace and see everything that we're doing, it just creates a whole new appreciation and respect for what we do. So thank you very much for kicking that off for us.
You're welcome. Thank you, Chair Thrower. And I do want to elaborate on that for just a moment. Just seeing it in action and seeing these representatives, obviously Representative Harding is new. He was just elected at the same cycle that I was. And so him seeing for the first time, I know Representative McLean had been a county commissioner, and so he had been in a couple of our schools, but the ones he was in today had not been before. And just seeing them dialogue and ask the questions of the educators as well. And hearing today for the first time, so wait a minute, if you have this construction program and you have a student who is scoring low on the FSA and has to take intervention for reading and math, they can't explore these career options, and kind of the light bulb going on, frankly. And so we had that conversation both with Rep. Harding and Representative McLean, because those are the things that they need to know whenever they're having these conversations on the floor, and seeing how that actually, if they're wanting to pursue career and technical education, then let's talk about some of the barriers that are keeping students from that employment and pursuing it, and what we can do to try to enhance that from early learning on up. So thank you. It has been enlightening to me, and I'm excited to be with Representative Hayes Henson on Thursday as well. I'm sure she'll have wonderful insights coming from education herself, and so it'll be great. And if I'm able to schedule a few others, then I'm going to try to do that as well.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I wanted to say thank you to Ms. Campbell for that as well. As elected officials, I've often wondered, how can an elected official actually have a conversation about something if they haven't been in the field to see firsthand what's going on. So that's been needed for a long time, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I find that to be very helpful. It's a segue into what we used to call Marion County Day, this Marion County School Board Day kind of reference, and it pays off. I mean, we have a huge delegation, and it pays off. It's a lot of clout.
It is, building those relationships. Well, Board Member Browning, why don't you go ahead and...
Well, let's see. Well, I have a couple of things. I did receive that governor's proclamation today, or announcement, I guess you'd say, and I personally find that to be very encouraging. The idea, when I went to school, is that you would have foundation tests, find out where you were, you'd have spot tests, you'd have all these tests at the end of the week, at the end of the course, at the end of the semester, whatever. And then let the rest of it catch up, because there's a lot of ways statistically to find out how the whole organization is operating. I really like that FAST program as much as I've seen. I haven't seen a lot of it. It was just refreshed on it today. Also, on the donation, that long list of donations, it goes even beyond that for me, and that is it creates a dialogue. Every one of it goes so much beyond the dollar. Every one of those donations will end up in an enormous, almost exponential number of conversations that enhance this educational effort that we have. So I'm very excited about that. Also, I was involved in a Zoom meeting with the on COVID and health department, and was quite pleased to hear the positive nature of the way things are going statistically and statewide. Very, very pleased, as we all are. In addition, Mark, and I don't have his last name, Lander. Mark Lander was willing and specifically spoke to the idea of digging deeper into this concept, not whole HVAC air conditioning systems, which are sometimes prohibited from a revenue point of view. When the revenue comes in, they don't want you just popping in new air conditioners on their nickel. However, this ionic system, he's going to dig into it, and that could pay huge dividends statewide and leading out of our group here. Because if you clean the air, it just goes a long way. Don't walk into a polluted room, because you're not going to come out of it healthier than you went in. Let's just say that. And so I was very positive reception. I can report that.
Thank you. Is that it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's all I have for you.
Thank you so much. Yes, it makes me think of airplanes, and we all know how gross they smelled until this pandemic started. And flying recently a lot myself because of my mom and dad, I am happy to report that the planes just are so much cleaner and so much better smelling than they ever were. And in my mind, that was long overdue. So if they can do it on a plane, hopefully we can do it in a school system, and then maybe even do it for the world. Wouldn't it be nice to step outside and not have pollution? Let's just take it to a whole nother level. All right. Thank you all tonight for always gets a little emotional for all of us at some times, I think, but this has been an especially tough week for me, and so it's reassuring to be surrounded by people that care so much and continue to work so hard and are bending. We are bending. We never knew we were this flexible, but we are not breaking, and we are not going to break. We've had a lot of obstacles, but one by one, and sometimes three at a time, we're turning them into opportunities. And the only reason why that's happening is because of the trust and the relationship building that we're working so hard to establish and grow. And as we continue to move down that path, it's going to be bumpy. Things aren't going to happen as fast as we wish that they would. But when we put our name on something, it happens. It happens. And to me, that credibility is incredibly important, because if leadership doesn't have it, then nobody's going to follow you. And so I just wanted to say, again, thank you for everything that everyone is doing. We are using science. We are using clear end metrics. We're communicating to the public. We're not glossing over how difficult this is at times and the losses that we've sustained. But I think that's why we've been able to remain as conversational and as passionate as we have, without it spilling over into something ugly. And I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of this board, and I'm very proud of Dr. Gullett and her team, and I'm very proud of my community for that. So, and I know we'll keep it up. And with that, it always comes into the worst part of the evening, student disciplinary matters and alternative placements. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
You're not used to
You were quiet too long.
You're not used to him sitting beside you.
That's right, that's right. I'm so sorry, Board Member Cummings. Take it away, sir.
Not a problem.
Finish us out.
Not a problem, not a problem. Listen, good evening, everyone. Again, I want to thank all of the folk that came out tonight and gave public comments. We don't necessarily respond to the public comments in the meeting. However, we do take the notes, and we do get back with a follow-up to those things, because every comment that we get is important to us as a board. And as Chair Thrower said, you do have the right and opportunity to email or text or call or any of us. And I think all of us are welcoming to that. We want to know your views on different things. With that being said, I did want to kind of go back to, last Thursday, we heard a wonderful presentation from our Howard Academy Planning Committee. And then after that, I kind of got some questions about things. And I kind of want to make some corrections to it to make sure that we adequately address what happened. It was an allusion to that some of the programs may not have been at Howard Academy, or that some of the programs may have kind of faded away and nobody knew what happened to them. There were meetings going on at Howard Academy with fraternities, sororities. There were different activities that were going on at Howard Academy prior to Howard Academy being closed. The person that was running the Howard Academy at that time was Cassandra Boston, who just retired this summer. Was over Title I, and she did a tremendous job at Howard Academy. She did have some of those programs. However, when COVID hit, there were not any meetings that happened, and there were not things going on there on a regular basis. And it exacerbated the problem when we were able to see uphand the conditions that they had been working in for a while. And at some point, it just got to a point where you could not keep staff in those conditions. And so I wanted to kind of correct that and make sure that the community knows that there were some things that were going on. Ms. Boston was very influential in getting those things done. And one of the things that when Dr. Brooks started giving her presentation, the very first slide, it had a picture of a new sign there. And she was like, I just one day saw the sign. I don't know how it got there. Ms. Boston, and some of the grant funding that she had been using to get that new sign there. And that was one of the things that she wanted to make sure she got taken care of before she left there. But they had a group of people that were there, Ms. Boston, Ms. Larissa Scott. They both retired. They both retired this summer. And they were kind of mainstays there at Howard Academy. So we want to thank them again for the things that they did prior to pandemic and during pandemic to keep Howard Academy going. And we can't underestimate how valuable they were to maintain it. And then for them to have the insight to say, hey, we got some issues over here with this building. We need to address these issues. We wouldn't want anybody to continue to be in those type of situations. So again, thank you, Ms. Boston and Ms. Scott, for all that you guys were doing at Howard Academy. And I keep saying Howard Academy, but it's Howard Academy Community Center. I think we need to address it for what it is. It's a community center. And to that committee for that report. Today we heard the governor give some guidance about FSA tests, and I think all of us are pretty much in agreement that we know that we needed some changes done there, and I don't think you're going to have any arguments from anybody. I do know that there's still a lot of question marks with this announcement, and so we're going to start getting questions about school grades and what about being certain types of teachers and all those types of things. We don't know. Let me say that right now. We have no clue what's going to happen. So please give us time to get that information before we start trying to answer. Because if you write me or you ask me, I'm going to say I don't know, and that's the honest answer. That's not an answer that's not a political answer. That's not just to get you off the case. That is the honest answer. We don't know. So it's still in the planning stages. I think he said it's not going to be implemented until next school term. So that gives us a whole long period of time to all kind of questions to start coming out. What I would suggest for those people is as you start listing those, start journaling those questions so that when it does come out, we'll at least be able to answer. Hopefully, when it does roll out, we'll have those answers answered for us, and it won't be so vague. But right now, we're all deer in the headlights right now with this situation. So, but I think we're in agreement that something had to be done differently, and I think the teachers are going to be happy. I think our staff is going to be happy. I think parents are going to be happy that we can kind of get to a place where teachers can teach and kids can learn. in a different way. So thanks for that, Governor DeSantis. But then also, we heard from Mr. Avery today, and I hear a lot more than what he said, because I kind of read between the lines on some things. When we started back in March of 2020, one of the phrases that came out of Corcoran's mouth was grace and compassion. And that's been a theme that we've had this whole time going forward. It has, I need to say this, that season of grace and compassion has not ended. We still need to be in a season of grace and compassion. When we think about what our staff is going through day in and day out, when we think about how we're dealing with people, how we're talking to people, how we're not talking to people, how we're responding to different situations, we have to understand that everybody didn't get up the same way you got up today. Some folk got up on the wrong side of the bed, and some folk got up on the right side of the bed. But we need to know that in a professional environment, we still have to deal with people in a professional way. And I think that's unacceptable. I don't want to know Mr. Avery, but I'm hoping that whatever schools you went to, that the principal that did not respond to you would reach out to you and address that issue. And I'm just hoping they were having a bad day that day. But that should never be the case. Whether it's you, whether it's a board member, whether it's a parent, we all need to be respectful of one another on campuses, because if the adults aren't respectful, how can we expect the kids to be respectful? How can we be a role model to anybody if we're not being respectful? And so you brought up some issues that I had been looking at too, as far as recruitment and retention. When I looked at the agenda for tonight, I'm looking at the number of people that are resigning, and my question always is, what's going on? What's the real deal? Why are people resigning? Not retiring, resigning. Just saying, throwing up their hands and saying they are through. And one thing I know, that when people throw up their hands and say that they are through, they ain't taking it no more, they cannot take it. One thing I understand is that they feel undervalued and underappreciated when people do that. So we have to make, as a district superintendent, deputy, we have to make a concerted attempt to let our folk know that they are not undervalued, that they are appreciated. And the job that they're doing every day, over and over and over again, is vitally important to our community as a whole. So I just want us to be thinking about that, because, and I was thinking about that, we can't get lax. You got some folk that will call in and it creates a burden, and they're calling in not just to call in, they're calling because they're sick. They're calling in because of different issues. And it does put a burden on someone else. It does put a strain on some other aspect of the department, of our agency. So we have to be smart enough to know that, hey, the person's taking the call is stressed, the person that got to cover that class, or got to cover that bus route is stressed, parents are stressed. The kid, we heard tonight from a student that's stressed about not being picked up on time. That's stress, y'all. And so we have to be cognizant of that and understand that we got a whole nother component we got to deal with. That's that mental health component. I know Ms. Campbell mentioned it, but there's a whole nother component we got to start dealing with. That's the mental health piece of this situation that we're in with our staff and our students, both. We've heard some unfortunate news around the district on different things that are going on. We cannot overlook those important things. So I just want to tell them thank you I'll tell our staff, not just our teachers, tell all of our staff thank you. We can't say that they're appreciated, and we don't at least be kind and show grace and compassion to them. And the job that they do every day can't compare to, we just can't understand it. Many people cannot understand it. So I just ask that our people be kinder, considerate, just know that everybody is going through something. Everybody is going through something. What you're going through may not be what I'm going through, but I promise you somebody's going through something, and we have to be cognizant. Is that person on the edge? And we could be, let's not be the catalyst for pushing that person over. Let's not be the catalyst because we didn't speak, because we didn't say good morning, or because we ignored an email or ignored that person. Let's not be the person that pushed the next person over the edge. So I thank you all for the time.
Thank you, Board Member Cummings, and it's so true. We always need to be in a season of grace and compassion and professionalism and being proactive. You know, you can throw all those words out, but it's putting them into action that makes all the difference. And I know that we're all committed to doing that. Under crisis conditions, it's come with a cost. And, you know, keeping schools open, we know is the right thing to be doing. We know what it does to kids to not be able to be at school. We only identified 300 kids from all last school year that really did well, that had the parents' support to be home online through our innovative learning model. Now, that's enough to have. I mean, some charter schools aren't that big. So it's worthy of being addressed. I'm not saying that, but my point is that's how important it is, our mission of educating our kids and getting through this together. And I do have some hopes, Board Member Cummings, about, you know, our governor and what his intentions are. You know, he's a mission-oriented guy, and I'm looking forward to the mission becoming more defined going forward of what is this really going to look like, because I haven't heard anyone say that they're unhappy about, you know, kicking FCAT and you know, the FSA to the curb. You know, that's been something that no one's kind of like the half days ever since it came out. But there is a lot of relationship building that's going to need to occur. There's a lot of questions that need to be answered and reassurance about how is this going to translate to a teacher's day-to-day? How is it going to translate to a principal's day-to-day? You know, how is it going to translate, most importantly, to a student's, you know, day-to-day? Is it going to help them walk out of Marion County Public Schools really prepared, even more prepared, to take their next step, and acknowledging that not every single student is college-bound, and that's a good thing. So, but it's exciting because it was long since time, and it does make me wonder, though, what's going to happen with the school grades when we take it, the FSA this year, if we're going to be moving into something different for next year. So, you know, questions, transitions. I know we'll all stay tuned and hear more about it. But in the meantime, we're going to keep our mind on our mission too, which is getting through each day and celebrating our successes and acknowledging our challenges.
Madam Chair?
Yes, sir.
Yes, if I may, I really like to echo the foundation of Board Member Cummings' comments, and you touched on the idea of success and our successes in championing that. Anytime you have a negative, anytime you have a misunderstanding, anytime anything is not to your liking, if you just pause a moment, and I'm rather new, not in the district. I've been in the district a long time, but I'm new on this board. And let me tell you, I am running into success after success after success. Professionalism by individuals that I'm getting involved in. So, yes, we have stress. And one of the great joys of life is to solve problems. It is the narcotic of all times. You solve a problem, I am going to guarantee you, you're going to be happy. And we have solved a lot of problems, and our society has solved a lot of problems, and I will count those joys way above any of the negatives. Just count them. And they're probably, put a number to it, 70% successes, maybe a few problems. And that's the gravel at the bottom of it. Let's just go with the successes. So I applaud you for bringing it forward, because it puts a focus on the tremendous successes we've had.
Thank you. All right. Well, if there's anything else for the good of the cause or anything else I've forgotten, sorry again, I will move on to, before addressing expulsion matters, I wish to acknowledge that board members have received the alternative placement lists for students through August 25th, 2021. Ms. Martinez Lopez, are there any parents who have submitted a timely request to speak on their child's disciplinary matter?
No, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Then may I have a motion to approve the expulsion of student JD 22-001 and JD 22-002 with educational services through the remainder of the 2021-2022 school year. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Board Member Cummings, seconded by Board Member Campbell. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. There being no further business, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Board Member Campbell, seconded by Board Member Cummings. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. This meeting is adjourned at 7:07 PM. Thank you.